I have a headache. Let's start there. So you all know that I am sitting in a space of pain, just for your information. And when I am in pain, I am given the awareness that there is something I am not paying attention to, and I need to pay closer attention to how I am creating pain or taking on pain or even housing pain and being oblivious to it until it makes its presence felt. And very often I find myself dealing with a pain that has come from some place in the past or some past interaction that I have brushed under the carpet or forgotten about, and of course it is now rearing its not so ugly head for my attention. And then when I have the space and the time and I can dig and delve and I can wallow a little, I do. If I can't, I go off to the chiropractor very quickly. If the chiropractor doesn't deal with it effectively enough, then I know I have to take it a little more seriously and pay more attention. So I have been paying more attention to my pain, and I felt all of my chakras. I did a scan, felt all of my chakras, and discovered that my crown chakra was feeling like a tornado, that it was whirling around in the universe and gathering and infusing without my say-so, without my awareness. Some of it is a follow-up on the work at Lord's, and some of it is a follow-up on the channeling, the very last channeling specifically from Lord's, where I wanted to be in so many places simultaneously. And you will remember we had a talk about feeling myself at home and feeling grounded and connected to all of those spaces and places simultaneously. In addition to that, my guides directed me to the crown chakra frequencies discussion and the meditation, which focused on how our crown chakras, as a representation or as a collective of all of the other chakras, are fully connected to what is going on all the time, whether we are aware or oblivious or feeling connected or feeling disconnected. Does anybody remember this meditation? So it's Yabba275. For those of you who don't have it and want to do it, just yell back at me and I'll pop it into Dropbox. But this is a meditation that talks about how the crown chakra, all 1008 petals of the crown chakra, are actually connected to all the other 307 chakras that we are, and connected to the universal intelligence. And between the two, between your innermost energy system and between the outermost system of divinity, there is our experiencing of humanity, and therefore it is connected to everything that's happening in the collective consciousness. Now, when I did that chat, I was regaling you all with the story of how I went to the hairdresser and I had a burning sensation in my head because she was talking over my head and was giving me all of this low vibrational negative thinking. And I couldn't get her off track with that. I couldn't bubble myself. I couldn't protect myself from it. I felt stuck with it. And I had to endure it in order to learn that I am completely connected to everything that's happening, regardless of whether I have consciously chosen to disconnect it. That there is never a moment in which I am separate from what is going on in the universe. We did follow-up meditations from that one, and one of the most telling of those, I've just finished transcribing, is the Tuesday group meditation number 10, in which we talk about being alone in the world and experiencing being alone as oneness, where all is one. And the meditation is about how we are connected through everything in the universe via something as simple as gravity, by breathing. How we breathe in somebody who lives 3,000 miles here, and how when we breathe out, we send our energy elsewhere. So each of these meditations that I'm transcribing and I'm discussing with my guides and I'm working through it finally got me to a word that I don't use often, but I am beginning to feel and experience differently now, and that word is momentum. We talk about being in the present moment and living it fully so that the experience of where we are becomes something in our energy fields, becomes something that is projected into possible future moments in a holistic way and opens up the opportunities for our continued beingness in those possible future moments. This is what living in the present moment is all about. Because the future moment does not exist unless you are fully present in this present moment. The clock will take you into a future moment anyway, but you might not meet yourself there. So momentum, for me, is maintaining the energy of this moment into all of those possible future moments, which may also categorize momentum as the art of manifestation, without the fixed idea of what it is I want to create or manifest on the physical plane, and without the fixed idea of an outcome, but with a consistency of intention. So momentum is a way of practicing and maintaining the intention of this moment into all possible moments as holistically as possible. Is that making sense for everybody? Yeah? It's a moment that carries its force, carries its energy forward into other possibilities or multidimensionally into other possibilities. So my brain, which has forgotten all of the physics I learned in matric, looked up momentum, and literally momentum is defined as mass in motion. And that mass in motion is measured by the impact that it has. I found that really interesting because, of course, we're talking about what impact does the current moment have in all of those possible future moments that we are creating from here. And by its very nature, which of those possible future moments are we going to live? We understand from our discussions of the law of manifestation that the possible future moment we are going to inevitably live is the one that is most familiar, the one that resonates the most intensely with who we already are, what we truly desire inside out, what our inner landscape is speaking or trumpeting, broadcasting into the universe most consistently. So momentum becomes an instrument that we use to manage that trumpeting, that broadcasting that we are doing with such a lack of mindfulness in every moment. So for me, the practice has been, and again, let me tell you, like everything else, it takes practice, which might explain why I have a headache. The practice is to be aware, firstly, of the intention and the energy of the intention as I am living it now. And simultaneously with that, in that moment, broadcasting or trumpeting or projecting it like a missile, if you will, or a stone that I am sending from here to all possible moments, so that it falls where it will and creates a ripple effect that in turn flows back to me. Can you visualize that? I am standing in the center of my life with one focused intention, and I am tossing up my pebbles in a holistic pattern into every possible direction. And where it falls, it creates a ripple effect that flows back to me, so that the universe and I may meet. The impact of the stone that I throw creates the ripple effect by virtue of the intensity of the intention. Please remember that all of this is happening energetically, because I'm not actually throwing pebbles or stones anywhere, right? I'm using the metaphor of a stone falling into a lake because we all know how that looks and the ripple effect of it. But if I am sending my intention out holistically, through my thoughts and through my feelings and through my actions and through my behaviors, through every interaction I have, then it is flowing outward into every possible direction of my life as it is in this moment. It cannot flow into aspects of my life that do not yet exist to my knowledge. It can flow into aspects of my life that do not yet exist beyond my knowledge. And this is why I'm talking about a 360-degree field, using this entire mandala of my energy field and sending my energy like a series of stones being thrown out holistically, so that I create a ripple effect that comes back to me. For us in our daily lives, where we know that a specific aspect exists, we can project energy into it. We can send our thoughts and our feelings, and we can send that energetic stone there in order to create a ripple effect that returns. But the primary requirement of maintaining mass in motion, of creating momentum and maintaining momentum, is just that, maintenance. You have to keep that flow going. You have to keep your awareness of it. So if we put it into practical terms, very often somebody will send that energy system, we'll throw it out there, and it will create a ripple effect. But the ripples only go so far in a lake. They can't go further than that in coming to meet you. The ripples of the lake are not going to seek you out in the universe and say, hey, you threw your stone here, let me find you. Even if I have to travel through hills and dales and over mountains to find you, let me find you. It's going to flow outward in order to meet you. And here's the whammy of the universe, just in case you weren't expecting it. And everybody else who has sent out a similar stone. Who it meets first, who it meets the most, makes absolutely no difference to the universe. It does make a difference to you. So you have to maintain the momentum of your intentions. You have to maintain the consistency and the constancy of that. You have to ensure that your mass remains in motion. And please bear in mind that when we measure momentum, we must have a moving body. It must be a body and it must be moving, because we use its velocity in order to measure its impact. So a body that is stagnating has no momentum. A body that is unwilling to move cannot gain momentum. A body that is going at a snail's pace is going to have momentum only on that which is moving slower than itself. This is logic. This is reasonable, no? Are you nodding? He's nodding. Lou is nodding. I must be on track. It makes complete sense to me that if I'm going to be working with a low vibrational energy that is moving at a snail's pace, then the only thing it can impact on, bring a force or power of its own to, is something that is moving slower than it. If I want a high velocity, I must be using a higher vibration to maintain the momentum. I must be using a higher vibration to focus my intention. As I've been transcribing these meditations, I have heard several messages from my guides, from the masters, coming at me, telling me about what I'm being trained for and what I'm learning. And in my usual human way, it is only now, with hindsight, that I am being aware of how much I have learned and how much training I have undergone just since we started this group and since we started the Tuesday group, and how very different the tone of each group is while they completely harmonize with each other. I am looking at it holistically, and I am seeing a pattern unfold that my human brain could not possibly have conceptualized of its own accord. I'm seeing an intention be fulfilled that I could not possibly have created for myself, because quite honestly, my imagination and my self-value does not stretch that far into the universe. The universe has a plan. So momentum for me is also about keeping my mass, as light as it is, in flow, in motion, in the moment, that it may gain momentum, that it may stay on track with whatever the intention of the universal intelligence is. I am taking it on faith that the universal intelligence has a plan. If it needs a plan. Okay. It has a plan. It too needs a plan. Everything must fit in, must connect. So there is always a plan. So your momentum in every moment is up to you. Like everything else, it is a choice. How you maintain the momentum, even when you are physically absent from the plan itself, is up to you. Thankfully, we have so many tools in today's society that enable us to be fully present even where we are absent. Remember, I want to be at home in so many different places and feel my energy grounded and be experienced in so many places simultaneously. That was the holistic intention. And you do not have to be physically present in any of those spaces in order to be in those spaces or to have a presence in those spaces. What you do need is a consciousness of your capacity to work, not just in the moment, but in all possible future moments. That awareness that you are in fact projecting into the future at all times. With awareness or without awareness, we are projecting into the future at all possible times. With momentum or without momentum, we are doing it. So we may as well do it well with momentum as opposed to without. Without momentum, there is no ripple effect that is going to rise up to meet you. Without momentum, there will be a lack of depth, a lack of profound meaning. Without momentum, we feel stuck because the mass is not moving. It is not creating a force, a gathering of self into the possibilities of self. Momentum as a spiritual energy that I am experiencing requires me to acknowledge the law of potential. To acknowledge not just my own potential, but the potential of the collective consciousness within which I find myself. To acknowledge the potential of the universal intelligence with which I work daily. In your own daily life, it may require you to acknowledge the potential of the beings you work with, of their possibilities, and how your possibilities meets their possibilities, so that we create momentum together. This is how we become a force to be reckoned with. And on May the 4th, when I was getting messages saying, "May the 4th be with you," I was feeling very forceful indeed. Didn't you all get that message? Yes, didn't you all get that message? Yeah. May the 4th be with you. It was interesting for me that we all tune into power as a base chakra energy, but we don't recognize it as a crown chakra energy. And we know that the base and the crown are so connected. They're in cahoots with each other all the time. So what it is, I am planning for myself in my blueprint at base, where I've created my identity and my place in the world, is easily translated via my base chakra frequencies as they exist and are included and are enhanced in my crown chakra. They are easily included in any possible divine intention. They are easily included in any working and refocusing of that intention. And because the crown chakra is directly guiding and informing the base chakra all the time, it is easy for divine guidance. It is easy for my intentions to flow through into reprogramming and replanning, even rebooting the power system and the identification system of the base chakra. You may not remember, but we talked about how the outermost layer of the 1008 petals of the crown chakra are in fact the frequencies of the base chakra in the crown, and that the layer inside of that is the sacral chakra, and the layer inside of that is the solar plexus, and then the layer inside of that is the heart center, so that the crown chakra not only encompasses all of the energy of all of the chakras, but it also harmonizes them for communicating, for creating momentum with the universal intelligence. I have a tornado effect coming up with my crown chakra. It feels as if all of my human chakras are gathering information about human consciousness and working through it, while I, the human being, in my lack of awareness and in my oblivion, is rejecting and resisting all of that knowledge at the same time. So I am giving myself a massive headache. And when I listen to my own voice, I give myself a massive headache because, again, I am obliged to be aware and to acknowledge the things about my work that scare me, the things about my work that are so out there and so beyond my control and so beyond even my knowledge of who I am and what I do, that I tried to avoid them. And now, with this practice, I am obliged to sit still and confront myself at a whole new level of understanding that self in the context of a universal plan. So my crown chakra is in a tornado effect because I am now shaking up all of my chakras from crown to base in my understanding of this identity that I am in the process of discarding instead of incarnating into. At every level of our growth, we are required to shake up our chakras and discard some aspect of our identity that is keeping us limited or closed or stuck in some way, so that we are limited in our ability to maintain the momentum of the ultimate intention, which is your sacred contract with the universal intelligence. The plan you made before you were born. The unknown plan, that unknown plan that we forget when we are born, but that the soul's yearning for awakens in all of us at some stage of our lives. Learning to allow that yearning to work through you, to become part of your intention, to become part of the momentum you bring into the world, makes you a force to be reckoned with.